Hi, I'm Megan Dorsey from College Prep Results. I'm continuing my video series on high school course selection, what you should do to optimize your high school schedule so that when it comes your time for college admissions, you don't have any regrets. In my last video, I talked about core academic courses. And you can see on my four-year plan on my whiteboard behind me, I filled in those core academic courses: English, math, science, history, and Spanish. And I picked Spanish because I'm modeling this after my own current 8th graders' possible course selection. Today, I want to talk about other graduation requirements. These are courses that seem required by schools, much to the dismay of students. We expect academic requirements, but some students are very disappointed to find that the rest of their schedule, which notice there's not a lot left after I filled in my core academic courses. They wanted to fill that with something fun with electives, but before you can do that, you have to take care of these state, district, or campus requirements. Those courses might include things like PE or health, arts-related requirements, technology-related requirements. If you attend a private school, you might have a religion or theology requirement. And you may find that your campus has non-credit requirements like study hall. Maybe all 9th graders and 10th graders are required to have a study hall. It isn't a credit you have to earn, but it is somewhere where you will be required, and it needs to be put in your schedule before you start adding in anything else. Once you have your core courses listed in like I have, you might want to look and say, where are the optimal times for me to fit these in? I will tell you that your school counselor will likely encourage you to get some of these out of the way early. In other words, go ahead in 9th and 10th grade. Take care of those arts or physical education or health or other requirements. It saves them having to worry about you as a second semester senior. Be terrible not to graduate because you had everything else going for you, but you forgot to take your theater class. It also means that when you get those taken care of, in your junior and senior year, you might have more options. There may be more courses that they find appropriate for slightly older students. Therefore, you might want to take some of those requirements here. What I would say is look at what you plan on taking, look at your schedule, and say, where do these fit? If we're talking about my son's schedule, his school requires a year of PE, and they require an arts credit. Really pretty minimal. You might have more. My son's school has 7 periods in a day, so he won't be able to fill in an 8th period. So notice, we're not really talking about a lot of free places. If he takes PE in 9th grade, he only has 1 more period for a fun elective. Maybe he'll opt to take his arts class in 10th grade. I will tell you that is not how my daughter chose to do things. She played tennis in 9th and 10th grade, so imagine PE and PE right here, and she was involved in speech and debate for 4 years. It was much harder for her to find time to place that arts credit. And some students start feeling like these graduation requirements are almost like a dead weight. They don't see that this is the thing they wanted to do. It's like, oh, I have to fit it in. What I look at sometimes is that these courses can be a really good schedule break. If you have a full day of academic courses, it might be nice to have a PE class or an arts class where even if you have assignments and homework, you may not be doing the same amount of heavy reading, writing, and studying that you're doing for some of your other academic courses. But if you really need room to put other activities like sports or debate or yearbook into your schedule, and you want to open room by maybe taking some of these requirements outside of the regular school year, the first thing you need to do is check with your school counselor. Will another alternative course be accepted? Maybe you can take some of these in summer school if that's offered by your campus or your district. Maybe there's a place elsewhere where you can earn that credit on your own time so that you're not having to take a spot in your schedule. That is what my daughter did. She ultimately earned her arts credit her senior year by taking an online course. Probably made her own counselor very nervous because she hadn't finished it up by February of her senior year. And her counselor kept saying, is this one arts course the thing that's going to keep you from graduating? So do plan ahead, and I would not recommend doing it that way. Don't put it off till the very end. When you do sign up for alternatives, you need to get your school counselor's approval, and you need to make sure that the course you're looking at will satisfy the requirement that you need to fill. An example is a number of years ago, when I was teaching and counseling in the Houston School District, I was coaching speech and debate. And I had students who were taking, debate for their 4th year. You would think that debate would satisfy the graduation requirement for speaking. We called it speech, but the real graduation requirement was called communication applications. And speech and debate, as wonderful as those students were and as hard as the course was, were not meeting those requirements. It was a state requirement for Texas, and the alternative, although it sounded like the debate team would satisfy the speech requirement, it did not. So these are very specific in some cases. Be very clear with your school and with your campus. Get the approval of your school counselor before you make any alternatives or plan to change those graduation requirements from something you would take during the school year to something you seek from an outside source. In my next video in this series, I'm going to be talking about the fun classes, your electives, and how we can put those into your course selection plan.